And just like that, the Pittsburgh Steelers season is completely over. A very weird, frustrating, and exciting season towards the end. I'm going to be completely honest here. This was a throwaway season for the first half of the season because Matt Canada was offensive coordinator. They went at the halfway point. They fired Matt Canada. They let Coach Sullivan come in and call plays, the same way Coach Faulkner as well, the quarterback's coach. And then you also had the running backs coach as well come in as a collective unit to both come in and call plays. And the offense still did look clunky. Kenny Pickett came in, had a good game against the Bengals a couple of months ago. He went down against Arizona Cardinals, and this team went on a bad losing streak. They went to Mason Rudolph, and he gave them life. He won the last 3 games of the regular season, and in this game against the Buffalo Bills, he gave it his all. I will say that Mason Rudolph is a fighter for this team. You cannot go out there and say that he was the reason that they lost his football game. He had 229 passing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and he did have 1 bad interception in the red zone. If he did not throw that interception, the game could have went into a different direction, but they couldn't stop the run today, and they couldn't run the football, something that Mike Tomlin has a huge emphasis on when he was first hired with the Steelers years ago. Those were the quotes that came out of his mouth. We have to run the football. We have to stop the run. They were not able to do both in this game. Jaylen Warren had 8 carries for 38 yards, and Najee Harris had 12 carries for 37 yards. That was pretty much it. Pat Freiermuth had 5 catches for 76 yards. George Pickens did have 5 catches for 50 yards in this game, but he had a bad fumble in this game as well. The turnovers in the first half crushed this team, and Deontay Johnson did have a receiving touchdown in this game, but besides that, they lacked the explosiveness and they lacked the aggressive play up front from the offensive line. And Mason gave it his all in this game. Mason really did. He's the best quarterback right now on this roster. And they may not be saying much, but he's miles ahead of Mitch Trubisky and he's miles ahead of Kenny Pickett as well. I'm a big Kenny Pickett fan, but I am a truther at the same time. I'm a realist. Kenny right now is not the long-term solution at the quarterback position. Right now, he is not. I'm not saying go out there and cut him, release him from this roster. They should do that with Mitch Trubisky. Kenny has a spot on this roster either as a backup or as a project quarterback, but he can't throw touchdowns. In 12 games this year, he has 6 passing touchdowns to 4 interceptions. And the offense did look bad. A lot of it was on Matt Canada, but Kenny was missing throws and he was not able to see down the blitz either. Mason comes in. He did look better. And a lot of you guys killed me in the comment section for saying this. Mason did this against bad defenses. Against the Seahawks, there's a bad defense. Against the Cincinnati Bengals, a bottom defense as well in the NFL, and he did it against the backups of the Baltimore Ravens. But I'm not going to take that away from Mason. He came in the pocket, he pushed the ball down the field, and he gave this team a great chance to go out there and win football games. So he deserves to have a spot in this roster next season if he does want to stick around and the Steelers do want to pay him. I don't see him wanting to go out there and get top backup quarterback money, but he deserves a spot with this roster. As far as the rest of this team, they have a lot of question marks, man, because when TJ Watt is out, they cannot win football games. They are 1-11 all time without TJ Watt in the roster since he has been drafted with this team. When he is not on the field and when he is dealing with injuries, they can't win football games. They've only won 1. Alex Highsmith is a very good pass rusher, but when you put a huge emphasis on him, like how they did in today's game, you're not going to get much pass rush from guys like Cameron Hayward up front or Larry Ogunjobi. And Nick Herbig is a solid player. He's still young in his career, but they could not go out there and put enough pressure on Josh Allen to be consistent. He had 203 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns. He also had 74 rushing yards as well. And James Cook had 79 rushing yards, averaging 4 yards a carry. I hated their run defense in this game. And I understand you are down without Cole Holcomb. You don't have Quan Alexander. It's been like that for the last couple of weeks. Now I'm starting to see why Miles Jack wanted to go out and retire and basically why no one else wanted to call him up. He had 2 major penalties late in the game, but he played very well in the bottom half of the regular season. He's just not a legitimate starting linebacker with this team anymore. And I look at Landon Roberts. I've said this for the last couple weeks. Solid tackler, but his athleticism is not there. When you stretch him out from sideline to sideline, he's not the type of linebacker that you're looking for. I never want to see Patrick Peterson be a cornerback for this team ever again. He needs to be a safety. He is best when he's at safety. When he's a cornerback, he's not it. Brandon Ayuk gave him a lot of blues for the first game of the season. He can't cover the number 1 wide receiver. He just can't anymore. Not in this system with the Steelers. Last season with the Vikings, he did look better at that cornerback position, but his age is starting to show. And Joey Porter Jr. went out in this game with a concussion. I hope that he is okay moving forward, but he showed a lot of good this season with this team, and he is a rookie. He does hold on too much, but for the last couple of games, you didn't see those many penalties on his side of the field. He started to play better. Mika Fitzpatrick did miss some time. He's still a good safety with this team. He just wasn't as impactful this year. He didn't have an interception this year at all with the team. Not saying that he's a bad safety, but he did not have this same impact that he has had since he's been with this roster this season. He'll have to step up moving forward. And I like DeMonte Casey as well. But there's definitely a spot for Patrick Peterson in the secondary. It's just not at the safety position. I mean, it's at the safety position. It's definitely not at the cornerback position. He is not a corner anymore in the NFL. Maybe a number 2 or a number 3. But as a number 1, no. So they're going to have to go out there and fix his secondary yet again. And they're going to have to go out there and draft a middle linebacker. This team has not looked good at that position ever since Ryan Shazier went down many years ago against the Cincinnati Bengals. Their linebacker spot has not looked good. And I understand you drafted Devin Bush. He had one good season. After that, he was a bust, and now he's with the Seattle Seahawks. But even then, you've just been putting guys there. And Cole Holcomb did look good with this team when he was able to stay healthy. The problem is with him, he can't stay healthy. And Quan Alexander was basically just a veteran signing to put alongside him as well. They have to fix their run defense to go out there and make a true playoff push moving forward. But I'm more concerned about their offense because of the quarterback. Even though I like what Mason Rudolph did for the last couple of games and what he did in the Bills game as well, he's not a true long-term option for this team at that quarterback position. They're going to have to go out there. And let's be completely honest right now. When you look at this quarterback class, Caleb Williams and Drake May, those are the 2 best quarterbacks in this class. I don't see the Steelers trading up to draft a quarterback because you read the reports, they're high on Kenny Pickett. You can't go out there and run another season with Kenny Pickett being your true starting quarterback on the depth chart. And this is coming from a guy that went to bat for Kenny Pickett for the last couple of seasons. Maybe you bring in a brand new offensive coordinator. You want to figure those things out because they're going to need to bring in a true offensive coordinator. I don't like Coach Sullivan long-term, and I don't like Coach Faulkner either long-term at the offensive coordinating spot. So Mike Tomlin had to figure those things out. And I also look at Mike Tomlin. He has 1 year left on his contract. Does he want to come back to this team where they let him go? And you look at the coaching changes across the NFL right now. The Seahawks got rid of Pete Carroll. The Patriots let go of Bill Belichick. I know the Steelers do not let go of coaches. They'd rather keep them around, but something's going to have to change here. You haven't had a playoff win since 2016. And I can go out here and say this as well. The roster hasn't been particularly good either in the last couple of seasons without Big Ben because of the quarterback play. I understand the wide receivers have been good. The running backs have been very good as well. I like Jaylen Warren. I like Najee Harris. He has over 1,000 yards rushing in every single season in his career. But the problem is you don't have the quarterback spot right. You're not going to be able to get things situated. And I'm not the biggest fan of the offensive line. The offensive line needs to be better as well. Those guys can't get a legitimate push against top talent in the NFL either. That's one thing that I am worried about. And another thing too, they're going to have to change their offensive philosophy. That's the biggest thing. They're going to have to change the offensive philosophy sooner than later. That's one of the biggest things as well, because like I mentioned before, Tomlin is that old school type of coach. He wants to go out there and run the football as much as possible. Those times in the NFL are done. You have to go out there and get a quarterback that can carry you on his shoulders sometimes and be able to go out there and carry the offense. And you have the elite weapons on the outside. You have George Pickens. You have Deontay Johnson. You have Pat Freiermuth, who is very good as well. George Pickens is a true number 1 wide receiver. You just have to give him the opportunity to go out there and stretch the field. But the future right now with the Steelers, it is uncertain. But I have to give Tomlin a lot of credit. I'm going to give him some flack in a couple of seconds, but I have to give him a lot of credit to go out there and finally go and start Mason Rudolph after he's not the biggest fan of him because he was sitting on the bench for so long. He was a 3rd string quarterback. To go out there and patch up this defense with those injuries at the linebacker spot and the injury at the safety spot, that's an incredible thing for this team to get to the playoffs. I know some Steelers fans would rather miss the playoffs for draft situation. I understand that, but I have to give Tomlin credit again for not having a losing season, even though I'm not the biggest fan of it, because if you don't win a Super Bowl, in my opinion, that's a losing season, especially for the standard of the Steelers. And one more thing as well. He waited too long to go out there and fire Matt Canada. He should have fired Matt Canada before the season started, went out there, found a true offensive coordinator with a true identity, and got things going in the right situations. Instead, he did not do that. He was stubborn. He let Mitch Trubisky go in there and start a few games when he is terrible. He should have went to Mason sooner than later. And to be completely honest as well, when Kenny Pickett was playing bad and he wasn't playing at his best, you should have called in Mason as well. Mason Rudolph is the best quarterback with this roster. Not saying that things can't change over the offseason and over training camp, because it can. But right now, Kenny has to be better moving forward with this team. And my fear is that they're going to go out there, run it back with Kenny Pickett, run it back with Mike Tomlin, and they'll just be a fringe playoff team like how they were this season, and they'll be in the same situation. For the past couple of years, this team has been stuck in that mediocrity stage, and that's not Steelers football. That is not the Steeler way. The Steeler way is to go out there and make a true playoff push. And I know the first thing people are going to say, we're going against Josh Allen, we're going against the Buffalo Bills. I understand that. I really do. But that can't be a common copy excuse every single year. To have no playoff wins since 2016, that's a bad look for Coach Tomlin. So let me know in the comment section below how you feel about the Pittsburgh Steelers and what moves should they do moving forward. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, when each and every last win, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace.